Next up is Supta Baddha Konasana. So again, we've gone over Baddha Konasana, and now we're going to add the extra element of supine lying back. They show it with the bolster across, which is absolutely fine. If that feels good for you or for a student, use it. But there is another way to do it that's more supportive. And actually doing it in the other way that I will show you is a great one to do for long holding posture. So if you would want to use this in a yin, you may want to offer the more supportive, where the whole spine all the way up to the cervical spine is supported. Even for people who are flexible, if you're holding it for any length of time, you may want to let them know they may want to allow themselves to be fully supported, since they may be there for however long you're going to hold that posture. But both ways are fine. Explore them, see the difference in how they feel. Whenever we are taking the body back, we want to use caution and take our time. This is where something so silly, we can pull something when we're going to lie back or going to lift up, because we're kind of straining one area of the body, making that one area do most of the work, getting us down and up. So for yourself and your students, give them the reminders constantly to allow the whole body to support them when they're coming in and out. Don't make it, which generally it's going to be either low back or cervical, don't make just those two areas do all the work, taking us down and lifting us up. Really engage your core. Use the arms, roll to the side if needed, and press up. So you can't remind yourself or students enough to do those things. That way we avoid silly injuries that then keep us from being able to practice yoga while we're healing. So, Supta Baddha Konasana. We start coming into Baddha Konasana, or those feet together. Again, explore, how does that feel? Do you want the feet close? Do you want them a little further apart? That's going to change how you feel it through the hips. We want that bolster nice and close. It should be touching us. It shouldn't be back here. So like they show in the book, I'm going to show you that way first. You can use something with a strap that's connected so that the bolster doesn't move. You can use the strap around the feet so that the feet don't move, so that you're situated with the strap around here connecting to the lower legs. So when we go back, we're staying in that position that we want. But you don't have to use any of that. They show you how in this book, in your teacher training book. So we're going to come back, and again, we're going to be mindful of how we're coming back. We're not going to put all that pressure just through the neck. I'm engaging my core so that I can gently walk myself back. And I'm going to slowly, my core is still engaged so that I'm not straining through the neck. I'm going to slide up, because when I lay back, I think I'll be out of frame. Okay, nice and slow, we're coming back. You may want to keep the chin towards the chest as you're coming back, so that's less strain with the head like this. Keep the chin forward and lie down. Even at this point, especially if there's neck issues, no problem taking the hands behind the head and gently lowering that head. You don't have to do that, but again, if you know that there is some neck issues, you may want to do it. You may want to let your students know they can do it. So for me, this feels really good. I love this. For some, it might feel good, but there may be pulling through the hips. So in this case, you would want 2 blocks, and you would want to put one under each knee so that they're supported. It relieves some of that pressure through the hips. The arms can just rest on the belly. They can rest to the sides. They can rest overhead. Again, that's going to change how you're feeling it through the spine. It may increase a stretch somewhere for some people that feels good. For others, they might not like it. You would hold here as long as feels comfortable. You could do 30 seconds. You could do a few minutes. When you're ready to come out, you would I take the hands and help the legs, especially if we've been here several minutes because we've stretched all of that tissue and ligaments. So I want to support them by bringing them in gently with the hands. You don't have to. From here, I'm going to tuck my chin towards my chest. I may even use my hand to help start that process. And I'm going to slowly and engage my core come up. I may at this point take the hands behind the legs and lift the rest of the way up. So we're being gentle. The longer we've held a posture, the even more gentle and supportive we want to be. So it's okay to let the hands assist other parts of the body. Move slowly. Let your students know move slowly. There is no reason to pop up out of a posture. It's not a race. It's not a competition. Take your time coming in. Take your time coming out. Then we can move the bolster out of the way, move on to the next posture, whatever you have planned for your practice. We're going to move on to the next posture in the book, which is Supta Virasana, Supine Hero. So again, we've gone over Hero. We've gone over the different ways to come into Hero. So you may want to use that. Actually, wait a minute. I didn't show you the other way to do Supta Baddha Konasana. So wait, rewind. We're going to go back to Supta Baddha Konasana. So instead of the bolster being this way, we're going to take it this way. Again, it needs to touch that low back. So this way, we are supporting the whole spine. You would go into it the same way. Very slow, engaging core, take your time. And then this way, whole body is supported. Blocks can go under the legs again for support if it's pulling too much through the hips. And I didn't mention this before, but in either variation, whether the bolster is across or long ways, if this is too much for someone, even with the blocks, there's no reason why the legs can't stay together. So if you feel that it's pulling too much or you see a student struggling, let them know. Just bring the legs together. So they're still experiencing all this wonderful upper body stretch and restoration. And then you would come out of it the same way as if the bolster were sideways, supporting the body the whole way. Okay, now moving on. Supta Virasana. Again, you could use a bolster here if you wanted. They show it with no bolster. Either way is fine. No bolster at all. It is going to increase that stretch. So let you know, it can feel pretty intense, especially because of the way the legs are in this. Through the knees especially, it's really going to get intense the further back that you take the upper body. So just keep that in mind. Remembering with Virasana, if needed, move that calf flesh out of the way so that you can really get into a nice seated posture without interference from the rest of the body. If this doesn't feel good already, we are going to take the legs like this. There's no reason why some of your class can't do Supta Virasana and why some of your class can't do Supta Baddha Konasana. So again, letting them know, if you see that this just isn't going to work for someone, teach them and show them how to do the Baddha Konasana version. The upper body, you're all doing the same. We're just changing up the lower. Okay, so for this, same thing, we want to make sure that we are supporting the body as we're coming back and coming up. I'm going to put the bolster behind me just because it gets pretty intense the further back I go and doesn't always feel great. If I'm super stretched, it can feel good. I did not stretch enough, so I know it would be putting too much tension on this part of my body. So with that bolster, I'm going to walk myself back. Again, what feels good for your arms today? Maybe some days this feels super good. Maybe you have a shoulder injury that you are nurturing and it doesn't feel good to extend the arms up. Just let them come to the sides or rest closer to the legs. And any posture, but particularly supine postures, once you're settled into that posture, once your students are, remind them to come back to the breath. This is a great time to really focus on that breath. Let it really help to ground you as you're in these postures. You could hold here for several seconds, several minutes. And when you're ready to come out, again, use mindfulness, support the whole body. I'm going to start to tuck that chin forward, and I'm going to use my hands to help press myself up and coming out. We're going to stop here. We'll pick up with the next one in the next video.